Hi everybody. In this video it is not showing PvP battles, but giving you a little knowledge about there are 9 enemy ultimate skills that you must be aware of. You must already know, ultimate skill is the most powerful skill and can do great damage to the enemy. Can even be a savior in the last seconds when our character has a dying HP. But what if your position is superior to the enemy and suddenly your enemy performs the ultimate skill, and instantly so you lose the match? So this is my summary. 9 skill ultimate class enemies that you must be aware of in KOF or ladder mode. 9. Cyclone Axe, Mercenary. Cyclone Axe, this skill is one that you must avoid because it has a high super armor break, so it can absorb the opponent. Even Cyclone Axe also has an invisible frame, which means you can't attack him with anything. If you are hit by Cyclone Axe, and do aerial evasion with the intention of avoiding the attack, there's only a slight chance that you can successfully dodge the Cyclone Axe. So the best advice for using aerial is to wait for the duration of his skill to run out. Eight. Sacred Wish, Saint. Sacred Wish is one of the most annoying skills. This skill has an extra high super armor, which is strong against several opponent attacks. Even this skill is very special that can kill players' HP while dealing great damage to the opponent. If the enemy enters the Sacred Wish area, the enemy will feel confused between attacking the saint who is recovering HP or trying to get out of the skill area. Because Sacred Wish also has a super armor break, which is high enough to cancel several enemy attacks when the enemy tries to attack from close. 7. Achieved Grace, Oracle Elder. Different from the previous ultimate skill, Achieved Grace also includes the ultimate skill that you must be aware of because this skill has a fast action speed, even though the explosion is only once but can do great damage to the opponent and give a 30% super armor buff for 25 seconds. Can even make the opponent not realize their current HP can be reduced a lot. Because Achieved Grace is difficult to predict from its movements. Achieved Grace has high super armor break and super armor, so the enemy is very difficult to thwart Oracle Elder using ultimate skill. Achieved Grace can be even more terrifying if you use the skill of Heraldry Pouch. And the difference from level 3 to 4 is almost equivalent to 2x the increase in damage. So be careful with her ultimate skill. 6. Meteor Storm and Eraser Force User. These two skills are entered together in the 6th order because there are similarities when using. First use without press anything, the character will appear to be standing in place while attacking, and get invisible frame for the duration of the ultimate skill. Then the second by pressing left click on the mouse, the character can move freely and can perform additional skills accompanied by the ultimate skill attack that continues. This second method is the one you are most wary of, because in a matter of a few seconds your remaining HP can run out and lose in battle. Meteor Storm and Eraser are able to lock up enemies trying to escape, because Meteor Storm and Eraser have extra super armor break, which makes it difficult for the enemy to move. So they waited for a miracle to survive as long as they entered the ultimate skill area. Meteor Storm and Eraser are one of the ultimate skills that have a short cooldown duration because they get the default skill buffs, namely Boost and Beyond Time. And can even be shortened using Heraldry reduces cooldown 20%. So if you get hit by their ultimate skill attack, how do you act? 5. Requiem Duelist. Requiem is also one of the ultimate skills that has the shortest cooldown. Because Duelist has a passive skill in Class Mastery, which serves to reduce the cooldown duration of Requiem for 5 seconds if it hits the opponent. So there are 8 supporting skills that can make Requiem have a short cooldown. Arrow Sword. Ripple effect. Pale burst. Flush. Execution. Lightning rod. Aircraft. Hard mod. Requiem is also a skill that is difficult to guess because every time you use flush, Requiem will be able to use the instance by pressing left click and a yellow box will appear in the Requiem skill slot, which means Requiem can be pressed by the instance. With Requiem as a skill instance, you can make tricks to deceive enemies and give sudden attacks. The enemy is also difficult to guess the rest of the cooldown Requiem. Even Duelist users often don't realize that Requiem is ready to use. So be careful with his ultimate skill, because it can trick you. 4. Champagne, Stim Bruzzer. Champagne is the ultimate skill that can kill enemies quickly. Because Champagne is already in revamp, and gets a terrible buff. Champagne will give a big buff if used. Increases crit rate by 90% and light attribute attack by 25% for 20 seconds. So all skills will turn into attribute light or light damage, then increase 2x the normal damage result. Champagne also has extra super armor, so this skill is very difficult to fail when the enemy uses it. Champagne does not provide defend or super armor buffs, but many enemies don't even realize their remaining HP will run out suddenly due to the buff effect of Champagne. So you have to be careful with her ultimate skill because the buff effect given can finish the match quickly. 3. Arrow Barrage, Bowmaster. You must watch out for this ultimate skill, because it can kill your character remotely. Even more than 80,000 remaining enemy HP will also die from the attack Arrow Barrage. Arrow Barrage has been revamped and gets a passive skill from Skill Awakening, so the first step is to use Siege Tans, then use Arrow Barrage, and see the results. Very deadly. Arrow Barrage can be used without any accompaniment. But the result of the damage given is very much different. After Bowmaster is remake, all their damage is nerfed. So Arrow Barrage is their only strongest skill, to cover all their damage that has been nerfed. Arrow Barrage has a very powerful super armor, so it is very difficult for the enemy to cancel their attack. Even if hit by the enemy will be cornered and then die. Arrow Barrage also has a very high super armor break. When Arrow Barrage is active, there's little chance the enemy can dodge it. So be careful with Arrow Barrage, even though Bowmaster now the damage is small, but they have one very deadly skill. 2. Divine Avatar, Guardian. This ultimate skill is what PvP players hate the most. Divine Avatar deals a loud explosion and deals massive damage to enemies, then gets the movement speed, 50%, and invisible frame buffs for 11 seconds. During the duration of Divine Avatar, the enemy will not be able to touch Guardian, so during the duration of Divine Avatar, the enemy just keeps his distance and runs as long as his ultimate skill runs out. Divine Avatar is most often used when the Guardian's condition is low or their HP is low. Even Pro Guardian relies heavily on this ultimate skill to turn things around. So far, naturally there is no way to thwart Guardian using Divine Avatar, meaning that Divine Avatar cannot be defeated in any way, and for the duration of ultimate skill also no one has been able to touch him. So be careful with this ultimate skill, because there is an explosion that deals great damage and is immune for 11 seconds. 1. Crippling Punisher, Ripper. Crippling Punisher is the most deadly ultimate skill, and even the most feared by PvP players. Crippling Punisher fits perfectly in the first sequence because every Crippling Punisher is activated. The enemy will run away in order to survive the capture of the Ripper. After the Assassin's Remake update, Crippling Punisher gets a revamp and awakening that is useful for resetting the cooldown of 4 skills and ready to be used again. Crippling Punisher also gives buff attack speed, 15%, and movement speed, 15% for 10 seconds. And during the duration of Crippling Punisher can spam right-click on the mouse, the character will look like a shadow that moves to the front of the shadow very quickly. Aim to catch enemies who are trying to run or keep their distance. Most Pro Ripper users will use Heraldry reduce Crippling Punisher cooldown by 20% in Cough or Ladder mode. Crippling Punisher is also the key Ripper can turn things around when they are about to lose. So be careful. If your enemy is Ripper, and uses Crippling Punisher, don't get caught easily, or else you will lose.